Gearing up for week 1 of the new season as the Northern Colorado Bears get ready to welcome into Nottingham Field the Rocky Mountain Bears of NAIA action. Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for tonight's show as we are live at our new home this year, Stuffed Burger Bar, just off the 9th Street Plaza in downtown Greeley, and we invite you to come and join us each and every Tuesday night for the show this season. UNC coming off of a 6-5 campaign of a season ago, and with that winning mark, their first since finishing the transition to FCS. In the process, the Bears put themselves in the middle of the pack in the Big Sky Conference, and will try and build on that momentum as the new season begins on Saturday. We're glad to be joined by UNC head football coach Earnest Jr. Thank you again, as always. It's good to see you for
brother.
Another year of this, and let's start with just your assessment of where your team stands after fall practices before getting ready for game day.
Healthy. We probably in the best shape that we've been in, since I've been here, since my tenure here. So I'm looking forward to, seeing our guys get out on the football field and play some ball.
And it's been a long stretch, because when you get the opportunity, as you have here these last couple of weeks, to not have it be all about your fall camp, but have a week of practice last week, now a week of practice this week in preparation for this game, it really changes and almost makes guys anxious, doesn't it? Because you're not quite at that point yet where you're hitting someone else, but your guys really want to be hitting someone else.
That's key. They are so tired of hitting gold helmets that they're getting frustrated in practice sometimes, and that's good, because when you let them loose, on Saturday, that you're going to get that intensity level. I mean, our guys are so tired of hearing me yell about don't hit the quarterback, stay off the red shirt, all that type of stuff, and so they're ready to go out and hit somebody else.
And that was something very early on during your practices this fall that you had to remind guys a little bit. You had guys that wanted to get out and hit that guy in the red shirt because he was wearing something that was different than just the blue or gold.
Yeah, it's always, man. You just got to, I always ask him, can you play quarterback like he can? If you can play quarterback like he can, then you can hit him because you can replace him. But, it's about taking care of each other and getting them to understand that we need everybody. It's not about me and what you can do right now. It's about we and what we can do once the season starts. And so they're starting to understand. They're starting to learn how to practice and how to take care of each other at the same time. Have that intensity level that you need in practice to get ready for the season. Intensity
has not been something lagging, I've noticed, during the course of drills. Maybe a couple of days during the course of the fall drills, but when you're in two-a-days, it's very easy to get caught up and start feeling like, oh man, this is just grinding on, and this is going on for so long, and we need a break and we need a breather. But once you turn that page and school is back in session, that goes by the board, it seems like. Guys get enthused right away, recognizing that it's not all that far off.
Yeah, and we didn't have very many days like that this fall camp, and that's the sign of maturity of our ball club. And I mean, there's a couple of days I had to get after them, but most of them I was getting after them is for not taking care of each other, taking shots on guys that you shouldn't take, when you got a kill shot and you got to let off of that, so it was kind of one of those deals this year. It was kind of just different from what it was been in the past, because we didn't have to wait until school started to get that energy, that juice. They kind of had it from the beginning. They kept it. There was a couple of days we were low in there, but the leadership on our ball club, got it going really fast, and we got back on track. And then when you start school and, they get the Monday off and they come in for Tuesday, it took them about a half a day to get used to being out there at 7 o'clock in the morning. But, once they got over that initial shock of being at practice that early, it's been awesome.
What does the schedule break down like when you have that 7 o'clock practice? You and I have talked about that. I personally know college students aren't usually very high on getting out of bed for that 7 o'clock practice, much less a 7:30 class or any of those things. 7 o'clock practice actually comes on the heels of a little bit of work already before that.
Yeah, I mean, we get them there. If you're injured or you got a bruise, a nick here, a cut there, you got to be at the treatment room at 5 o'clock. That's the first time Matt will let me have them at 5 o'clock. I can't go before that. So we get him in there at 5 o'clock, and then we start meetings at 6. We're out on the field by 7:15 or 7 o'clock, 7:15 with stretch and get going. But, you know, for me, it's kind of twofold. You know, it's partly for the players and it's partly for the coaches, you know, because if we can get up and get practice out of the way that early in the morning, for one, they should never miss a class. Because it's not about oversleeping because you've been up since 5 o'clock. And so they should get to class on time, be there on time. And the coaches, they shouldn't be there till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night because they've been there all day already. They got practice out of the way. You should go home and at least see your kids go to bed. So it's kind of twofold for me. And then the last part is I know they can't do too much partying the night before because they got to be at the building by 5 o'clock.
That said, this is an idea that you have wanted to enact for a number of years, actually, and you entertained it last year, didn't do it, but then this year decided that you were going to make your practices 7 o'clock, and that's every practice through the course of the year, save for that Friday walkthrough on home game days.
Yeah, and you know, where I first was exposed to was at Central Florida. You know, Central Florida is such a big university. Our kids didn't even start practice till 12:30, and so we got them up. We were done with them by 11:30, and it made for an atmosphere conducive to coaches with young children, you know, because you get so caught up, and a lot of times we spend more time with our players than we do our own kids. And so when I got there and I got exposed to that, I loved it, even though we still didn't get out of it until about 8:30 or so. But it was kind of one of those deals that I could see, you know, once I got the chance to incorporate it. We experimented with it in the springtime for the last 2 years. And our GPA always fluctuates around 2.68, 2.7 in the fall. Then in the spring, the last 2 years, it jumped up to 2.9. You know, so for me, it's like I said, it's twofold. It's about getting work done, being efficient with it, and not taking all day to get it done. You can overdo it sometimes. And so then we get it done in the morning. Like I said, you can get out of there and go spend some time with your family.
And it's very easy in coaching to burn yourself out. It's very easy in coaching to sit there and try and outwork the next guy. But the deeper that we get into the philosophy of a program, the more I'm noticing that programs try very hard to not necessarily outwork anymore, but to work smarter.
No question. It's about being efficient with your time. It's about having a schedule, sticking to the schedule. And when you hear coaches talk about they're in there at 6 in the morning until 12 o'clock, half of them are guarding their desk. You know, I mean, I've been in that situation where you've got your work done and no one wants to leave because the head coach's not gone yet, and it's 10 o'clock at night. And so what are you doing? You're just sitting there, like I said, guarding your desk, and that's not a way to spend your time. You want to get in, get your work done, because then you start to second guess yourself. You put a scheme in, you know what you want, and all of a sudden you start backtracking on it because you continue to watch this and that and all the other, and then all of a sudden you're going away from what you originally wanted to do in the first place. So, like I said, it's about getting in, getting the work done, and getting out of there.
Guys hit the field at 7 this morning, coming off of having had a scrimmage on Saturday, as well as a lot of situational work on Saturday. You split that practice up before giving them Sunday and Monday really away from the practice field. How did they come back today?
Good. I mean, to be honest with you, man, with this being game week, they came out ready to go first thing this morning. It was actually amazing. The kids were looking at me like I was crazy because I was kind of fired up and hyper, and you know, but they gave me that energy by the way they came out and started to work today. So it was an awesome day all the way around.
You could tell it was game week.
Oh yeah, no question about that.
Back on the Earnest Collins Junior Coaches Show, Troy Coverdale joined by the Bears head coach as we preview this week's matchup with Rocky Mountain, but more importantly, we preview the season as UNC gets ready for this 2016 campaign. And Coach, this is actually one of the easiest shows I do all year because all I've got to do is just give you the positions and let you talk about where guys are and who to be looking for as we get this season underway. So let's start quarterback. Pretty much a given. Jacob Knipp is the guy going in here to begin the year.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob came in and solidified, his role. I mean, Kyle Sloter came in, he competed well, and he's going to be great for us, if we need him, and big body. But Jacob is definitely our leader right now, and he's throwing the ball down the field, and he's getting the guys lined up where they need to be, and he is our commander-in-chief right now. He's doing an awesome job with it.
Running back, you limited Trey Reek an awful lot during the spring and awful lot here during fall camp because of the fact that he did get dinged up so much last year.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those situations where I wanted him to be fully ready to go when it was time to go. And there's no sense in, taking a pounding in spring ball. I mean, if there's some guys you're still trying to figure out whether they can play for you or not, or they got some things to prove, yeah, then you make them live, you let them go. But, I mean, this kid came in, he proved it. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to run the ball. And so it's almost with Trey, you got to protect him from himself because he's not going to take it easy on the play. He's going to run as hard as he can every play he gets. And so you just kind of put him in a green jersey, and he practiced every day in the spring. We just didn't let him have any scrimmages. And so then we come into fall camp, and once we got to day 5, that first day full pads, I took the green jersey off of him and, gave us a kind of scare, one of those situations about taking care of each other. We had a linebacker blitzing, and we always tell our guys, when you're blitzing in there, you just come up and kind of take it easy, and he just ran him right over. And vintage Trey, he comes up to me after practice, he goes, "Well, Coach, I can take a hit now." And so he's been great. He's been going for us like that. I mean, ever since that. And so it's exciting, man. We got AD back going this week, and Cartagena's been healthy all along, and Darius is getting that knee. He's getting better and better. He's moving pretty good today. So our running back core is pretty good, pretty deep.
And that is a key point, in that you don't lose anything from last year in terms of your running back core. Everybody returns in that position.
Yeah, I mean, we got everybody back, from Trey on AD to Cartagena to Darius. I mean, all those guys are back in no specific order. Obviously, Trey's going to step on the field for us first, but they all have their different unique traits as to what they can do. So I feel really, really good about that running back core.
Plus, at fullback, Quinn Zamora returns, maybe playing a little more tight endish, maybe playing a little more fullback, and who knows where else he may turn up, though he will not be in uniform for this first game because of appendicitis that has sidelined him early on this season.
Yeah, Quinn is kind of like the Swiss knife for us. He can play a myriad of things for us, whether it be tight end, H, fullback, tailback. He can do it all for us. And so, yeah, he had a pain in his stomach earlier, last week, and ended up being that's what it was, and he's got it taken out. And vintage Quinn, he's already out on the field running, trying to get himself back in the drills and things. So, again, we got to protect him, from himself. And in that spot as well, Justice Latrell, we always call him Bus, but he's one of our linebackers, but the kid played both running back and linebacker in high school, so he'll get some snaps, at that fullback H kind of spot as well.
Tight end position.
Mikey McCauley and Theron Berner and, Samad Hines. Those are our guys with Rand Turnbull, who's kind of stepped it up, had a pretty good fall camp for us. So, we got 4 guys there that we feel pretty good about. Mikey and Theron will kind of get it going for us. Samad is kind of nursing some nicks and bruises, but, he'll be ready to go here soon. And so I'm excited about that spot. We're really, as you can see, we're starting to develop some depth, and it's young depth. Running back core, we got one guy that's a senior. We got one senior at quarterback, and at the tight end spot, we don't have one. Everybody's younger, and Quinn is that senior guy at the fullback spot, but Bus is a redshirt freshman. So we got guys that are getting plays and understanding what we want and getting playing time on top of it. So they'll be ready to take over when it's their turn.
Wide receiver. I don't know that there's all that much that needs to be said about the speed that you've got. There's no doubt about that with the group.
It's probably the deepest scores I've ever been around on any level, from 1 through 5, if you will. And that's not even including our young one. Everybody calls him Swaggy P, but he's the 6th of that group, and he's a redshirt freshman, and, but into my Patrick Stevens. But you're talking about Stephen Miller, who's the lone senior in that group, and he's probably the most polished, so to speak, but he's the slowest, and he's not really slow.
Right.
He's electronic 4.59 or somewhere in that range, and then you start with Ellis and Deggs, who probably, 1 and 2 probably fastest on the squad, and then you throw Frank in there, and Frank is a kid that we got at semester that probably runs the best routes on our football team, and he's in that 4.4 range. And then Alex, everybody knows Alex can run like the wind.
Right.
And I put Ellis and Diggs in there. That's the top two fastest. But,
you're going to challenge Alex?
If you stretch it out to a 400, Alex is getting them all. Those little ones can get those few quick steps. I mean, fun story in the spring in the spring we're testing 40s, and Alex comes up. Well, Diggs runs first, and Diggs runs a 4.48 or something like that, electronic. Then Alex comes up behind him and runs a 4.47. So Diggs get pissed off, and he runs a 4.42. So it's just about competing. But, when it comes down to distance or a 400, I don't think anyone can keep up with Alex.
That's on the offensive side of the ball. The only thing that we've not touched on there, the offensive lineman. And that happens to be maybe your most experienced area of this team. Yeah,
and that's, we've taken our lumps, in the past with that group just because they've been so young. And a lot of them started as freshmen or redshirt freshmen, that type of deal. But, we got, you got a senior at the center in Tex, and you got a senior at our left tackle in Marcus Piowski. And then you got, I forget what Coleman, I think Coleman's a sophomore, junior right off in there at our left guard. And then at our right guard, you got a senior in we always call him the generator. And then at our right tackle, you got a battle going on right there with Zach, who started for us last year, and then Joe Lazell, who was a walk-on that's earned scholarship dollars. We got it going. So with the three seniors we got there, James Floyd and Austin Hendrickson and Marcus Piowski, the rest of those guys will join in, and we'll have a pretty good offensive line there.
This is as deep an offensive line as you have had.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we've always been trying to fill in those spots and trying to make 2 out of 1 in certain spots in the past. But, we got 6 or 7 guys that we feel pretty good about, with Cody and Joe, the 2 guys that walk-ons that have earned scholarships and have put themselves in position to challenge for starting spots.
One of the things about that I enjoy is the fact that you're getting to that point, as we've talked about here just on the offensive side of the ball, that depth has now become a positive for you as opposed to having it be a negative as it has been early on in this program.
Yeah, no question. I mean, you can have depth, but it's the same guys topped on top of each other. But now we have different strengths, and different deals, especially when we're talking about the skill positions. So it's exciting, man. And the depth, it's not just depth, it's young depth, that it has experience. And so that's the exciting part. You're looking at, we from Trey to Alex to Nip, you're talking about 3 key people in positions. They won't be seniors till 2018, so the future's bright.
Plus, it allows you then to build behind them.
No question. And to recruit guys that can come in and spot play and understand and get that experience early, because you got the vets in front of them that are going to toe the road, if you will.
As you take a look at your offense as a whole, where is the strength of it?
I mean, it's hard to say, to be honest with you, because we got so many people at so many spots. But like I said, I guess if you just had to go from top to bottom, you look at the receiving core, but we can't do any of it without the O-line. So those guys got to show up. They got to be great for us, and they're making great strides in that.
There's only one Colorado. Only one Garden of the Gods. Only one Dream Stream. And while there may be a million things to do in this amazing state, there's one bank that knows what makes Colorado more than just a place to live, but a place to thrive. That's because we're not just a bank in Colorado, we're Bank of Colorado. There's only one.
We continue live from Stuffed Burger Bar in downtown Greeley. Troy Coverdale back with Northern Colorado head football coach Earnest Collins Jr. as we get ready for week 1 of the college football season for the Bears in a matchup with Rocky Mountain, as we'll talk about them when we close out. But as we left you, we were discussing the offense. Time to flip things to the defensive side of the football, as the Bears will try to make some hay on that defensive side this year that maybe in terms of turnovers they didn't last year, but there were plenty of other positives on that defensive unit that played in, and it is a very deep front group that you have on the defensive line.
Yeah, our D-line, we're, like I said, we have 3 seniors on that D-line with Mikael DeBose, and you got Miles Overton and Shutney Johnson. Those 3 guys will be the anchors for us up front. And then, you probably got one of the most energetic, powerful kids in a redshirt sophomore, Kiefer Morris. That kid has a motor that never stops. And so, you know, he's going to be the tone setter for those guys, and the 3 seniors will be the leaders for us, and I'm looking forward to that. And they have to show up, you know, for us in that sense because of how young we are in the secondary. We got a couple senior and a junior at the safety spots, but the corner spot's really young for us.
We'll touch on that coming up in a moment, but let's take a look at your linebackers. For as deep as your defensive line is, linebacker just as deep, if not more so.
Yeah, that's been a battle ongoing through fall camp, and it'll continue to be. Whoever's playing the greatest on that week will probably be in there starting for us, you know, and that's anchored, you know, by Newsome. Newsome is he's a kid that we got last year that we didn't know what we were getting. We knew we were getting a football player that could play a little bit, but this kid, you know, whether he's bumped and bruised, whatever it is, as linebackers usually are, Kyle is getting it done for us. And so he's a fun kid to watch play football. And then Stansberry's coming back off knee injury, and he'll be manning the middle for us right there. And then, you know, there's a battle in there. We got Lavelle Sanders, everybody calls him Booby, who's starting right now for us at the will linebacker spot, but he's got a young one pushing him, you know, and Noah Reed. So, like I said, we got plenty. And then you got Isaiah Williams coming in there. This battling also for that middle linebacker spot. And you're looking at Butt. We all call him Buff, Justice Luttrell. You know, he's making some hay there too. So we are pretty deep there, and I'm looking forward to seeing those guys play ball. Defensive
backfield, you mentioned the changes at safety as you became very young, very quick at that position.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Taylor Reisner was our leader back there, and he had a unique opportunity for him to get his MBA. I think he went to the University of Kansas, but he got in. And so he just came out and told me, he says, Coach, he told me before spring ball, he said, Coach, if I get into this MBA program, I'm probably going to forego my senior year and get this opportunity. And but you couldn't tell out on the practice field in the spring. He practiced just as hard as he ever had, and he got the nod, and he went on to do that. And so it thrust Boyer into that leading role as the veteran back there. And then you know, we got a kid by the name of Stone Kane at mid-year, and I really didn't know how good this young man was going to be until we got him on campus. And we got him on campus, and I don't use this reference lightly, but I haven't seen anybody practice like he practiced since Reed Dowdy was manning the sideline at UNC. You know, I'm not saying he's that guy, which he has the potential to be, but Reed was a unique player in the sense that he loved to practice, and he practiced hard every day. And that's how Stone is. He's all over the place. He's diving after balls, and he's running to the ball. He's picking them up, running them, whether it's a fumble, whether it's incomplete pass. He's making sure that he's carrying out what we asked him to do. And so he's an awesome kid to watch get on the football field and practice. And Shran Boyd, redshirt freshman, played quarterback all his life in high school, but he's made the transition to safety, and he'll be challenging for some time there too.
Defensive backs.
That's where we're you got to kind of figure out what we got there. You got Thomas Singleton, that's that lone guy that has experience, has started for us for 3 years now. And after him, you know, with Brandon Lenore going down, you know, in the beginning of the season, you got 2 redshirt freshmen and 3 true freshmen. So we're going to find out. We know we're going to be challenged. It's not a secret. Everybody can look on the roster and see what we got, you know. So, but I'm really excited about especially the 2 redshirt freshmen we got coming that we've had for a year. Marshawn Cameron probably was going to play for us last year if it wasn't for a little nagging injury that kept happening to him. So, you know, he'll probably get the nod to start on the other side of Thomas. But Mike Walker is challenging right there, ready to go. And then, you know, Vincent Hurd and Jerome Jackson are 2 of the guys. Dario Critton are some freshmen that we may see some action this year.
That would be the one area I think probably you would agree that you're thin at in terms of experience. That the defensive backs are going to be the area that teams will try to exploit. It makes it that much more pressing that your defensive line is able to get pressure on quarterbacks, isn't it?
Well, that helps. That's really what helps. You know, when you have a D-line that's experienced like ours is, and a linebacking court that's experienced like ours is, the coordinator can help that by devising some things to put some pressure on the quarterback. And you know, that's really, I don't care what kind of D-line you look at it from defensive backfield you look at, from the Broncos down to Pee Wee League. If you have pressure on a quarterback, it's hard for that quarterback to find room to throw the ball down the field. And so we're going to depend a lot on our defensive line to get pressure on us, so as we can get these young guys 2, 3, 4 games under their belt, then they ain't freshmen anymore, then they got to go play.
Also, a change in terms of your coordinator. As Larry Kerr elected to retire at the end of last season, season gave you the opportunity to bring back James Jones as your defensive coordinator. A few years spent at San Jose State. Used to be your linebacker and special teams coach here before making that move.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Jones, you know, he was here with us for 2 years. Yeah, we couldn't decide in the beginning whether we could make him linebackers or D-line when he first got here, but he chose to stay with the D-line, and so he comes back in that same capacity as the D-line coach, but now he is also my associate head coach, defensive coordinator. And what James did is he just kind of brought a new sense of vigor, and you know, and that's, he's running around. He probably lost his voice in the first 30 minutes of practice when he got here in the spring, but he's running around with them all over the place, making those guys pursue to the football. And we focus a lot on our run defense because that's where we were not very good last year in that light. And so that's his specialty, is getting that fixed. And we got 2 guys in the secondary who can get it done for us, working with our young boys. And so I'm really excited about where we are defensively right now.
Was he the first guy you thought of when the opportunity came up?
And it took me some coercing to get him back here. You know, I said, I thought we was boys, man. I shouldn't have to work this hard to get you to come back and be the coordinator. But we ended up working it out and getting it together and finalizing it once we got to the convention where we could sit down face to face. And, you know, that's kind of where you do it anyway, you know, at this time of the year or at that time of the year. And it was awesome. It was kind of a match made. He went away and got some new things, and we coupled some things together. And you know, and now it's I'm looking forward to seeing him call a defense and seeing where he is, you know, with that, because I know we're going to get to the ball much better this year, much faster this year as a unit, as a group, because that's what he demands every day in practice.
And it speaks volumes that when you look at your roster of coaches, while there is a turnover here or a turnover there, for the most part, these are still the guys in place that have been with you the entire time.
Yeah, I think there's, you know, 4 guys with myself and Graybull and John Boyer and Mike Armour that haven't went anywhere. And then you look at Coach Jones, and he left and came back, you know, after 3 years. And then Woody and Jeremy's been there with us ever since, except for the first year, you know. And then B-Mac, you know, he's new on the staff this year, and Cummings is going into his 2nd year. But, you know, the key thing to that, to me, is talking about our offensive line is this is the first time since I've been here that we have an O-line coach for 3 consecutive years. And that makes a huge difference. Our guys, this is their 3rd O-line coach they've seen in 6 years, but he's been here for the last 3 years, and it's going to bode well for us.
The Bears again match up with the Bears on Saturday as they bring in Rocky Mountain for the showdown on, no, not the Rocky Mountain Showdown, the showdown with Rocky Mountain coming up this Saturday at 2:05 at Nottingham Field. We begin coverage here on 1310 KFKA at 1:05 to get you geared up for the matchup. When we come back, we'll preview the visitors from the NAIA and from Billings. That as we continue on the Earnest Collins Jr. Show live from Stuffed Burger Bar in downtown Greeley in a moment on 1310 KFKA.
Hey, thanks, Dad.
Pick you up in 2 hours. Keep them high.
Thanks, bro.
Later, Mom. Thank you.
Have fun.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Mr. Smith.
Hurry in for Toyota's annual clearance event, where you can find 0% APR financing for 60 months on the 2016 RAV4. Offer ends September 6th. For more great deals, visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Back for our final segment on this week's edition of the Earnest Collins Jr. Coaches Show, live from Stuffed Burger Bar in downtown Greeley. It is the 9th Street Plaza, and we thank Jake and the folks here for all of their efforts in helping us get going this evening and being the host here throughout the season and into basketball as well, as they will play host for the Jeff Linder Show when we turn the page in November. But that's still a long way off as UNC gets ready for its first game of the new season, matching up with Rocky Mountain, NAIA school that plays in the Frontier Conference. They are based in Billings, 4-6 a season ago, but picked to finish 7th in their 18 conference. They did open with a victory this past Saturday by a 31-21 mark over conference foe Montana State Northern. And Coach, what have you been able to discern about them?
Well, I mean, you can tell this for one. You know, you're talking about Coach Petrino coming in from South Dakota, and he had a pretty dang good defense at South Dakota. I think ranked in top 6 in the country, and you name it, they were in it. You know, and so we know just from watching what little bit of film we have on them from this first game they had that their defense is flying around. I mean, they got a couple guys up front that could come here and play for us, no question. So we know that they got some good secondary guys. Like I said, the defense is playing more of a unit than they were last year from watching film on them from last year. And so we know we got our work cut out for us in that sense. And you're talking about Coach Petrino. He's got his championship pedigree. He won a championship at Carroll College when he was coaching, and he's with Joe Glenn for the last 4 or 5 years, who's won 3 of them. So, he knows what he's doing. He's going to have that team ready to go when they step in here.
Offensively, they're led by a senior quarterback. Chase White threw for 228 yards and 2 touchdowns in the victory, including a 21-yarder to Kalen Reed. So at quarterback, solid. But they come in maybe lacking a little at running back, their depth having been affected by injuries thus far.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the quarterback, a senior quarterback, and him getting the ball downfield to his 2 go-to guys, 80 and 81. I mean, they're missing the young kid number 4 that they had last year, who was, they threw the ball to him every chance they got. But you can see in this game they're looking to get the ball to those 2 guys on the outside, and they got some pretty tall tight ends, to be at that level that he threw a nice corner out to the guy, and so we know that he wants to get the ball down the field. And, running back wise, the kid they had in the game, number 40, I guess he wasn't expected to play or whatever, but he ended up playing for him. He's got some good speed on him. So it's kind of one of those deals. You get your kids ready. You don't know a whole lot about the team you're about to face. For one, you don't have a whole lot of film on them. For two, it's a new coaching staff, and so it's about focusing on what we can control, and that's our fundamentals and our game plan and execution. We know some key things about them, and we just got to get ready for them.
Does it give them an advantage that they've got a game behind them?
Yeah, anytime you get a chance to get a game under your belt, to kind of work out some kinks, we know they're going to be much better, in game 2 than they were in game 1. And so, they got that advantage because they got a chance to go hit someone else, And so, but again, it's about focusing on what we can do and what we're all about, and we'll be ready come Saturday.
How important is it for you to come out on Saturday and establish things very quickly and get your guys in a mode where they're ready to attack and really let off some of that steam that they have built up here leading into this first game?
And that's one of the focal points for us this year is getting off to a good start. We've kind of traditionally got off to a slow start and then got it going, except for 1 or 2 games last year. And so, yeah, for us, it's coming out right away and establishing whether you come out on defense or you come out on offense. That second play of the game, we're going to start right away with special teams, whatever it may be, whether we're kicking off or returning it. We got to set a tone right there and then come out offense, defense, and go after it.
One of the things that, if you watch the pro game, Annie, is that they have shifted the kickoffs to where the touchback is 25 now. Well, we've been playing that a couple years now in college football. Are you a fan of that? What are your thoughts on the adjustment that it makes you have to undertake as a coach?
To me, it's really not a big deal, to be honest with you. I think they're doing it more so for safety reasons because you're having more kickers that can kick the ball out the back of the end zone, so they want to reward the offense, put them on the 25. And so now what you're seeing in the NFL is now you're getting kickers that they're trying to get more hang time out of it, so they can kick it to the 1 or 2 or just a couple yards inside the end zone. Now you can go pin them inside the 20. So, football is a game of adjustments, and everybody's going to figure out a way to adjust. If you got 2 return men back there like we have, you want to kick the ball out the back of the end zone. And so you don't want to have them get a chance to get their hands on it. So the advantage we have there is they got to kick it out the back of the end zone. We get it on the 25. They got to kick it to us. We're probably going to get it there anyway.
How do you keep your guys from getting frustrated when they're in that position, though, where it's being kicked away from them?
He's got to understand it. It's a part of strategy. That's what it's about, and you got to look at it. You're doing your part to help this team get better field position because if they're not kicking it to you, we're getting it on 25 every time. Yeah, it's only 5 yards more, but 5 yards can be a big difference in the end. So it's about understanding what you're causing that team to do. You're causing that team to do something that they really probably don't want to do. It gives you an extra 5 yards, but they know if they kick it to those 2 little guys, they were probably going to get about an extra 20 or 30 yards, if not touchdown.
What do you see as keys then for this game for you? Let's start offensively.
Execution, and that's really on both sides of the ball. We got to come out and execute, not worry about how good they are or what they're doing or how they're doing it. We got to come out and execute. We got to come out and fundamentally be sound and have energy from the get-go, not waiting to get going. And that's why we kind of adjusted some things in practice, get it going right away. And if we can come out and do that on offense, we'll be fine.
Defensively,
playing as a unit. You know, and that's the big thing is Coach Jones calls it coming out of the stack. And he means just you get into that mush when the play first starts, and if it's a run play, everybody's got to get to the ball. And if it's a pass play, and it goes over your head as a D-line or linebacker, you got to turn and sprint, because the more people we have getting to the ball, the better chance we have of getting the tackle, getting the turnover, and making plays together.
What are the things you want to see your team accomplish in practice now these next few days before that game kicks off on Saturday?
Just mindset and attitude. Attitude and effort, that's really what it's all about for me, is whether you're a scout team guy, whether you're the starter, it doesn't matter to me. It's about attitude and effort and knowing, understanding what your role is for this football team at this point in time. If you don't like your role, change it. And how you can change it is putting it on film. And so, you know, for us, our guys who have great attitudes about understanding where they are and who they are and giving us the best effort we need so we can get ready for Saturday.
I am so looking forward to getting this season underway.
You and me both, brother.
Good. We'll see you then on Saturday.
All right, my man.
Ernest Collins Jr., head coach of the Bears, as UNC again has Rocky Mountain College coming in for the matchup this Saturday afternoon to get the season underway. A 2:05 kickoff at Nottingham Field. As always, tickets available by calling 351-4TIX or by logging on to uncbears.com. Our coverage with Blue and Gold Game Day gets underway at 1:05 here on 1310 KFKA, as Aaron Rath and I will take you through the lead up. As a part of that this weekend, the reunion of the 1996 National Championship team. They will be in town. We'll be talking with Tom Barber some about that as part of Blue and Gold Game Day, as well as we look back at that 96 National Championship campaign throughout the season and what led up to that run to Alabama and the national title that year. But plenty to talk about leading up to the contest on Saturday afternoon. We'll look forward to having you along for it as our coverage again takes the air at 1:05, kickoff at 2:05. Special thanks to everyone involved here at Stuffed Burger Bar in downtown Greeley. We look forward to having you join us here next Tuesday night for another edition of the Ernest Collins Jr. Show on 1310 KFKA. Till then, till Saturday afternoon. In fact, I'm Troy Coverdale. Thanks for joining us, and go Bears.